Welcome everyone to my first episode of Stay Prayed Up. This has been eating at me for a long time, since the beginning of the summer, and I've been taking little steps to kind of get to this point in my life. And finally, last night, I was taking a nap simply, and God said, it's time for you to take the next step. And here we are. I've never done any type of video recording, any type of like shows, videos, anything motivational in terms of that aspect, anything YouTube related, none of that. So this is just kind of a jump in the dark and just putting everything in God's hands. First and foremost, I want to introduce myself, and I want to expose myself and be vulnerable with you all. I've learned in life that once you kind of take the step forward and take accountability and all liabilities and just kind of accept you for who you are and all your mistakes, the good and the bad, and everything that you've done, the good and the bad, no one can really use that against you, and you can kind of stay ahead of everything. Any rumors, any speculations, any assumptions, any conclusions made about you, you can stand in front of it and put all that behind you and kind of face it head on. So, and also to establish a trust between everyone watching this, who needs to watch this, and who wants an ear open for them, who thinks that there's no one else in the world listening to you, or you can't go anywhere. I'm here for you. I've been there, and I know what it's like, and I feel as though I'm not reaching enough people, and I feel as though the gifts that God has bestowed upon me, I'm not using them to my fullest abilities. And to establish that trust between you and I need to expose myself and be vulnerable with you all. So to start things off, my name is Malachi Burden. I'm 23 years old. I was born in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And I'm just going to kind of walk you through the timeline, the major events of my life that kind of led me to this point. Like I said, I was born in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and I moved to Ithaca, New York when I was in kindergarten, the first grade, and kind of had a rough upbringing as a kid. My parents did not have a pretty relationship. No domestic violence was in the household, but a ton of verbal abuse. And I feel as though that kind of, in a way, took its toll on me and kind of really shaped the person I am today. And I'm really still in the stages of really trying to know myself and correct myself and kind of change myself as a person. Like I said, I moved to Ithaca, New York, and upon a divorce, we moved to Baltimore, Maryland when I was in the second grade. And big drastic change. One, growing up in South Dakota, as I'm probably the first black person you know that's from South Dakota. That's really just a rural area. It's very much urban now, through industrialization and technology advancements, et cetera, et cetera. And then moving to Ithaca, New York, upstate, not from the boroughs, not from the Bronx, Queens, none of that. Straight in an apartment in a cul-de-sac area, white neighborhood, not too much going on. And then moving to Baltimore, Maryland, more specifically in Baltimore County, and big change. And I've always been the person kind of adapt to their surroundings, and just started getting into the wrong crowds. And through the natural aggression in my household from my parents, I kind of took that and I ran with it in school, in elementary school and middle school, and I just kind of let all this built up anger with not having like a healthy household, not having a father around as much as I wanted to. I was kind of jealous of other kids, you know, especially like sporting events, and that anger just kind of carried within me just in every aspect of life. In sports, I'm still a poor sport now, but I hated losing. I was taking all my anger on my teammates, friends, teachers, just anyone really, just taking out all my anger. But academically, I was a good student, but just my emotions would just really get the worst of me, and people really wouldn't give me a chance or just or see the potential I had with anything. They just saw the negative side of me and kind of ran with it. And just going on into middle school, just started hanging out with the wrong crowds, and I was just bad. I was a real bad kid. Just bad. Just, I don't know if like my school had a behavioral chart system, and I have like good, almost a straight A student, but the worst behavior grades. and just kind of ruined my chances of really trying to really do the best that I could in terms of applying for private schools and other things like that. They just saw my behavior grades and they wouldn't accept me. One really bad instance in my life that really affected me was, like I said, I was hanging out with the wrong crowd, and I had a bunch of like cigarettes and like a couple of pocket knives that I had on me, just trying to fit in, try to be cool, be tough, whatever. And one day, like at recess, I took them out of my pocket because we were playing like pickup football. And and I also had a phone too. And, somebody found it, didn't mind their business, turned it into the teachers. Kids, when they get a phone, all their parents put their name in the phone, so it said Malachi's phone. So they, already caught the blame, and it was me and another person got caught, but he pretty much, snitched on me, saying everything is mine. We both had the pocket knives, but he just pretty much said that I gave them to him and everything. And long story short, I got suspended, but I got suspended for like 4 to 6 weeks, but it was the end of my 5th grade year, so I ended up missing my 5th grade graduation. But since the school year ended before the suspension, they carried on into middle school. So I had this reputation of already coming to middle school as a bad student, coming in late, because all the teachers and the staff knew that this kid is coming in, he's suspended from elementary into middle school. So it just kind of carried over, and I had this negative aspect, and teachers really didn't. Some teachers already had this stereotype of me, so it was really kind of rough going in. Long story short, same thing, starting with the bad crowds, but then something really significant in my life happened, and that was my mom's car accident in 2006, and it really changed the course of my life dramatically. Like I said, I grew up without a father figure in my life. All my family's either in the Midwest or up in New Jersey, so it was really just me, my mom, and brother. Just thugging it out in Baltimore. And when it happened, I thought to myself, if my mother died today, she wouldn't be proud of me. And at that moment is when I really told myself it's time to make a change. And from that point on, I just really became, I think I really became a man at the age, just trying to take care of my mom from the bed to a wheelchair to a walker to crutches to a cane to walking, and making sure me and my brother had all the homework done, making sure we got to school on time. And there was a point in time when it was just me and my brother in the house, and like I said, I really didn't have any family, so my grandmother did fly out, come take care of us while my mom was in the hospital and in rehab, but then she couldn't stay for forever, so she had to go back. So it was really just me and my brother in the house. I had to be responsible that he ate breakfast. We got fed at lunch at school, but like dinner and make sure our homework's done, the clothes and everything. And people from the church would come by and drop off dinner for us. But that was the really only adult interaction we had. So I really became, a father figure, not only to myself, but for my brother. And I realized I really had to step up. And I realized that I couldn't be the person who I needed to be if I still had the same mentality, same characteristics, same traits of being this, pretty much badass kid. So that really grew up, and seeing my mother struggle to get back to her kids and just fight like a warrior day in and day out in physical therapy, and just seeing the tears in her eyes and everything, I was like, if she can do this, then I can get my act together. And from then on, she I guess interesting fact about me, she through her physical therapy and going to the gym every day to regain weight, I started going with her, and we got into bodybuilding together. So we did a couple competitions. She's a professional bodybuilder. I stopped after my first show, but she's been she's been the driving force in my life. And I don't think if she had that car accident, I wouldn't be the person I am today. Moving on to college, life is pretty good. Still have my ups and downs, but going into college, everything was Gucci. I had a rough couple started just adjusting to the culture and, some racism, and it just wasn't going well. And, I starting the process of getting to a new major and everything. And then, got into some pretty toxic relationships, and it just took a toll on me. And I started to question my value, as you know, as a boyfriend, as a friend, as a man, as a person. Like, am I not good enough to be in like any type of relationship, whether it's a friendship or relationship with anyone? And I just took a toll on me. Like, why do I feel like no one really wants me? Why is it was a bunch of stuff that just wasn't happening. It was one after another. It was like a big snowball effect of like 5-6 major things in my life would happen, and then small little minuscule things were happening. So it was just a bad. And going into that semester, I really told myself I was gonna hype myself up that this would be the best semester of my life, best year of my life, and it just wasn't that from the jump. And being at college, specifically Penn State, drinking is just kind of, I guess, the social norm here. So yeah, I'm kind of considered amongst my friends, I think I am, as the strong friend. And I don't want to seem as, if the strong friend is weak, then I can't really be reliable anymore. So I really held all this in. And I remember, and let me backtrack. I never really been a big drinker, weed smoker, just anything. I've never been that type of person. But I remember one day, an event, it was a open bar event, and that was my first time ever being truly intoxicated in terms of blacking out, not remembering anything. But I do remember that everything that was kind of making me depressed at the time was gone. Just for like glimpse, a brief moment in time, everything was gone. So I decided to keep drinking to reach that point of where I would forget everything that was making me depressed. And it turned into a really bad habit in terms of me just buying drinks for myself, and then it turned into me buying drinks for my friends, and then it turned into me just buying drinks to anyone around me, until the point where I would just walk up to the bar, I'll buy myself 2 shots, I would look to my left, look to my right, like, you want a drink? And I would just buy them shots. It was just a repeated weekend event every day. And then it got to the point where I started drinking in my room when I would wake up, before I would go to bed, in between classes, and then I would really hide all the bottles in my room and then get a big trash bag and take them out to kind of hide that I was drinking from my roommate. And then I didn't really get a snap out of it till I really had a really spiritual event. It was in November, I believe, November, December, I can't really remember, but it was the same open bar event, but it was also my friend's birthday. And I'm not going to say the names because I don't know if they want to be mentioned in this or not, but I've known this since my freshman year, and he's always greeted people as, yo, what's up, like, how you doing, like, you look well, like, or I'm trying to get like you, how like, black men really greet each other. And when I first saw him, his first reaction was, are you okay? And to me, I think in this message, I think that God was really, or Jesus was really speaking to me through my friends. And he asked if I was okay. And I think Jesus was speaking through him to talk to me. And of course, I was playing it off like, I'm straight, like, what are you talking about? Like, and I'm also really quiet. I'm really to myself when I go out. So people really also didn't really notice that, because that was my natural, habitat, just to be to myself. So for him to say that really caught me off guard, that someone really asked me that. But yeah, I played it off. Later, moving forward, I was chilling on the couch, and then my other friend walked up to me. He's like, yo, bro, like, you straight? Like, what's going on? Like, I'm cool, bro. I'm cool. I'm chilling. I'm macking, whatever. And that was the second time I really caught my guard. So I think that's the second time Jesus was really trying to speak to me. Then after that, I got to the bar and, just started drinking my life away, just kind of, doing what I normally do. And then I can remember it's these two girls that are close to me, on a friendship level, not like a relationship level or anything. But I can't remember. One of them took me home, and they asked when I got in the car, like, am I okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm good, I'm good. I remember just going to sleep. And I remember my dream that Jesus woke me up, and he said, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, we talked for a little bit. I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Like, why are you here? And he's like, okay. And I went back to sleep, but then I was still in a dream-like state. I felt fully conscious, but I was asleep, and it was just dark. And then I remember feeling myself suffocating, and I couldn't breathe, and I was just gasping for air in my dream, and I just couldn't move or anything. And then Jesus came back, and he said, are you okay? And I said, no, I'm not. I need you right now. I need you to help me. He said, okay, then open your eyes. And I opened it, and what I was actually doing was I was choking on my own throw up. And so luckily I woke up, and I leaned over, and God works in mysterious ways, but the trash can was placed perfectly right next to my bed. You know, I just threw up in the trash can. And then I just remember calling at this point in time, I was also failing like 2 classes. So I didn't want to tell my mom, not that she was going to be, I knew that she would be disappointed in me, and I know she would be accepting, but I felt like I let her down, and I wanted her to know. So my next best option was to call my grandma, even though I knew she would tell her, but I knew she wouldn't yell at me first. So I called my grandma, but the funny thing is like she anticipated me calling her because she answered on the first ring. And her first thing was, "Are you okay?" She always was like, "Oh, hi, sweetie. Like, you know, is everything okay?" But she says it in a nice voice, but like she asked in a very stern voice, like, "Is everything okay?" And, you know, I told her, and that's really where the road to recovery began. I told myself I'm gonna stop drinking eventually, and I really didn't take that serious. You know, after I told all my friends about what was going on, you know, after I told my grandma everything, you know, that's when the road to recovery started, like I said. And then, you know, just kind of, you know, filing for retroactive withdrawal from the class that I failed, and kind of telling my friends, and just really getting the support system. But my drinking was so bad, I really had to tell my friends to, you know, if I go to the bar, come up with me or watch me. And it was really, I literally had to text them like, "Yo, watch me. Like, if I come up, like, make sure I don't." You know, it was really bad, and my tolerance was just so high. Even though I don't weigh that much, my tolerance was so high that I could just drink so much, and I can really go from 0 to 100, but like with a snap of my fingers, because alcohol would just call my name, and it was, you know, and it's really scary to really have your alcohol content, you know, tolerance that high and just be okay. So you know, I carried out the rest of the, you know, the semester, and everything was good. And then I really started getting my act together, and just, you know, small steps, small goals. And then I got offered an internship in Houston, and I always wanted to go to Houston, but I think that God gave me this opportunity not to just work and get a work experience, but to really get away from everyone, and to really work on me, and I can be by myself and isolate me from everything, all distractions, people, and really just focus on me. And, you know, life was going, you know, amazing. You know, I started cutting down my drinking to like 2 drinks. If I did go out, 2 drink cap. Made a couple of friends. Just cleared my contacts. Redid my social medias. It was just like, I just felt great. Life was amazing. Houston is, you know, beautiful, and working for a Fortune 500 company. It was just, you know, life was amazing. You know, all my friends are getting, you know, doing well. Families doing well, and then life hit me with a curveball. I've been in counseling like my entire life, and since I was a little kid, and this individual, his time on this planet was, you know, it was up, and it was time for him to go on to heaven. And it hit me during my final assessment week of my internship, and he had a heart attack, you know, completely healthy male. And I found out from my cousin through a Snapchat, you know, text while I was playing Fortnite, that he passed away. And, you know, my first instance was just to put the controller down, drive, and go to the bar. And I did. And before I took the first drink, my grandma called me. And she was just, Malachi, just, you know, she just kind of broke the news to me. But I was just like, the perfect timing, you know. And I didn't tell her I was at the bar. I told her I was okay, and, you know, and I told the bartender, I had like 4 shots lined up, and I told the bartender, "Hey, look, I can't take this right now." He said, "You look like you're going through something, you know, don't worry about it, just go home, and you don't have to pay for anything." And I just remember crying and crying and crying, because, you know, this is the only person in my life who's been there, who knows all my deepest, darkest secrets, who knows everything about me, but he's never been biased towards me. You know, we all, you know, we have friends and family who care about us, but they always have some just sort of bias. But he would always tell me like, it's gonna be okay. Like, you know, he always loved, he's old school, so he's like, yo, like, what you doing, dog? He used dog a lot. Like, why is your head down? Like, pick your head up. Like, what are you doing? Like, all right, you did this, you did that. All right, okay, keep moving. Like, you know, keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. And it was just like, why him, you know? And what hurt me the most was that, you know, through my recovery, while I was still at school, I canceled his last 3 appointments with me, just not because I didn't really care. It was just like with busy and class and everything. I just never took the time to really like reschedule or just call or email her and just text him like, yo, I'm good. Like, how you doing? Thanks. Or I was a fan. Like, we were really close. And when he passed away, it was just like, I really took him for granted. And that life is so precious that I really didn't really appreciate that. I really didn't appreciate him. That's what really hurt me the most, is that I never got a chance to just say hi to him one last time. And through that, I had this notion that I wanted to, like, what can I do to not grieve anymore in a guilty way? How can I grieve in a healthy way? How can I keep carrying on his legacy? How can I pass on everything he did to me to other people who are in my similar situation? And I really, I didn't know the answer to it. I really didn't know the answer to it, but I wanted to do something. Last week in Houston, I was going to the Lakewood Church in Houston, and they promoted this baptism. And the last week while I was in Houston, and I texted my mom when I was like, "Have you ever been baptized?" I didn't know, and she was like, "No, you haven't." You know, this is kind of the difference between Christian and Catholics. They kind of let Christians really your choice. Catholics want to, you know, just want to do it from birth, or at a really young age. And then so I was like, oh, okay. And I didn't tell her what I was doing. I just asked her a simple question. And then one day, my friend Jalen was coming down to Houston with me because I was gonna drive back up to Baltimore once, you know, my internship was over. And I told him, look, bro, like, I got something to do, so I might be late picking you up from the airport. And I can't remember if I told him if I was getting baptized or not. I just told him I was gonna be late. And I just, there I went, one by myself. And it was, like, if you don't know, Lakewood Church is a huge church, so they have hundreds of people that get baptized. And the people, volunteers, they saw me like by myself, and they were kind of really impressed by my life story, and just, I'm here by myself, you know, in Houston. And a lot of the people there came with family members. So if you come by yourself, a staff member kind of walks with you, so you kind of have some support. And I was able to really step in front of the camera and the television. It was a live streamed event, really kind of tell my brief story and really kind of reach out to other people. So it was an amazing experience. And I just felt, you know, brand new. And after that baptism, that's when the idea clicked in my mind, like, what can I do? And I really started the idea of, I wanted to do like kind of life coaching and life groups here on campus. So I started doing that every Sunday, and through that, it's kind of carried me here. And with that, I'll kind of get into, actually take it a step further. I wanted to, like I said in the beginning, I kind of wanted to reach more people. I feel like I'm not doing enough. And this is literally yesterday, God spoke to me, and I was taking a nap, 30-minute nap. He's like, do more. And I'm like, what do you want? And he said this. And so today I got these like panels, got the camera, and here we are. I want to, you know, use everything at my disposal to reach people. My roommate Stanley said I have a gift for this, and I'm really good at what I do. And he said that I really need to reach more people. Everyone needs to see this. And I said, bet. And so here we are. And yeah, and that kind of concludes the part 1 of episode 1. Just wanted to give pretty much a introduction of who I am, kind of establish this trust between you and I, and kind of be vulnerable with you all so that you can really trust me and get to know me as a person. Yeah, thank you all for tuning in. The next part 2, will actually be my first message that I've ever done, and I really hope you guys enjoy it. Thank you.